Today's video is the first of a two-part series on building or rebuilding and installing a classic Boston Whaler RPS and seat. This video is going to focus mostly on assembling this RPS. When I got it, it was in pieces. There was no instructions. I had to figure out what bag of screws or which, because nothing was really marked, and this is what happens when you get somebody else's project. But we got it together, so let's get going and show you how I got the backrest together, and in the next video I'll show you how we got this reupholstered and put the whole thing together and installed in the boat. But before we do that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. You'll get notifications when I put videos up in the future. Alright, so now it's time to try to assemble the RPS, which basically is like a big jigsaw puzzle. And the way I'm going to handle this is piece by piece. I'm going to match up the holes with the holes on this. This is going to be tedious. I think actually I had done one of these and it looked to be this. That would be correct. But I want this to be right, so I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Actually, not as bad as it seems, because if you look from manufacturing, some of these holes are off center, and they would match and be off center on the slat as well. Now, these did have little dowels, if you will, that were teak. They were eliminated completely. The other thing I'm not too pleased with this, well, one thing, it looks like it was lacquered, it wasn't oiled, so I'm probably at some point going to sand this all down on the outside and use teak oil on it. Get rid of the lacquer, if that is in fact what it is. But the good news is that because it's got recessed holes in it, we know which side goes on the outside, so that's a head start. So let me get a close-up and let me go ahead and start piecing this together, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. And I do have a box of skinny nails. I'm going to use these just to kind of make sure the fit's correct. This one's probably not too obvious, but the offset's so much that it looks like definitely would be a match here. That is definitely a match. Let's get the other side. Once I got some of these set in here, I'll start throwing some screws in, hold it together. I think this might be correct. I'd say this is a good start. Now the question is, which one of these bottom pieces goes where? I say it's a bottom piece. One good thing, I can tell what goes to the inside because it's got the marks from the old pole holders. Got drain holes built into it. So this is going to be in the inside. It's either got to be one way or the other. We're going to find out, hopefully real quick, which way it is. This looks like a very strong possibility. this validates my suspicion that is the correct piece for that side. It's either going to be this piece or this piece. We'll find out. Actually, this is offset so much it's almost positive it's got to be that piece. Well, let's see. This would be validation. I believe that is correct. I'm leaving the middle slat off for a reason. When they took this apart, this was the piece that goes right underneath the top here. They created a new one, which is great. However, they did not cut it to size. So I've got a little bit of a challenge. I've got to cut this to the correct size so that it fits the, so that it also fits the, I mean, they did a good job at doing this, but it's too wide. It needs to be cut down. So I'm leaving room in there to slide that piece in there once it's cut to the correct size. Well, as it turns out, this is not going to fit correctly in there. It's too wide, so unfortunately whoever made it didn't take that into account or did that wrong. But anyway, it is what it is. We should be able to get these in here. I'm kind of running out of screws. We'll see. So one thing I think that's easy to overlook when you're putting together an RPS is these plugs. And what they're designed to do is they screw in the inside bottom of the backrest, and then this is designed to go over it. It's more to add stability than anything, but you probably shouldn't have a fish on if you've got a pole in there, but you never know. There's a wind, accidental leaning, grabbing. Probably a good idea to have that so it doesn't destroy any of the wood. Anyway, let me show you how I'm going to make one, because these are a little bit, yeah, they're not very strong anymore. Let's put it that way. So I've got this 2-inch hole saw, and the idea is that once I drill through this, it'll give me a plug that's less than 2 inches, so that the fishing pole holder should fit right over it. So I'm going to start this. I will warn you, this wood's exceptionally dense, and this thing will grab and it will hurt you. So if you try this, I'm not sure what kind of wood this is. I imagine they try to do something with teak, but it's exceptionally hard. So now that I've got it started, I'm going to drill 2 3/16 holes in here. And that'll be the holes that we use to attach the plug to the bottom of the RPS. And what we got here is, I'm not going to say it's the tightest fit in the world, but it's enough to create a brace that this is not going to move very far once it's done at bottom. I actually think these are screwed in because there's some screw holes at least one screw hole, but I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to place this in the bottom and use some extensions on the drill to drive some screws home. Alright, so you're probably wondering how I'm going to get this centered so that it fits over it, or at least close. And let me see if I can give you a close-up to show you exactly how I'm going to do this. It's kind of goofy, but I think it'll work. Alright, so let me show you what I'm going to do. First off, I've got multiple extensions, and that's to be able to reach from the top down. There we go. So that's where it's going to go. I've got some number 10s by 1.5 inches. I've countersunk this, so I'm going to preload this. Should be nice and flush. I'm going to place it roughly over the old screw holes. Then, just to make sure everything's centered, we're going to slide the pole holder in, and it's not centered, so that's what we've got to do. That should be roughly in place. Now for the fun part, yeah, I say that facetiously, you know that. Well, I drove that one in, and we're roughly in place. Alright, the lighting's pretty terrible here, so I apologize for that, but this guy's solidly in place, and it is centered so that the rod holder will slide over it. There you go. I think we couldn't have done better. I got this lined up so it matches the holes exactly. That was actually a bit of a chore, but I think it was important. Split that wood. Alright, ready to mount. Alright, so the way these mount is this gets bolted onto the side here. I'll have to match up, make sure I know which side is which. But you can't just put this on here, you have to actually put this onto the stainless steel rods that hold it in place. So that'll be the next step. Alright, so you've seen now how we've got this backrest together for the RPS. It was kind of like putting a jigsaw together, but I think following the holes in the slats and where they went into and matching them up went a long way towards actually helping get this together. Now there's two pieces I did not put in here, and those go right in here. The screw holes for here, and I imagine they're for some kind of additional support. I did not put those in there, and I won't. If I see that there's any chance that these things might break or take some wear because they don't have them, I'll make some pieces up and I'll put them in there. But for right now, we'll just go with what we got. Keep an eye out for the next video. I plan on putting it up in a few days. When I do, I'll put a link for it right here, and that video will be finishing up the seat portion of it and installing the backrest to it and putting it in the boat. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, hit share and like. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.